I would love to know of the construction journey working with us, like to a viewer that's considering transforming their whole home. What's some advice you would give?
Well, we started with you when you didn't really have a designer on your team, and I know your model has changed. We went with a designer who designed the space, and then we met you once the design was already ready. To somebody who's starting now, I would tell them to contact you so that they can get the design done with your team, because having a design build setup is so much smoother and easier when you're dealing with something at this scale, instead of having a designer who's kind of done their thing and speaks their own language, and then the construction company that's trying to understand what the designer is trying to convey to them.
Or even so, if you have an independent designer, to have be in conversation with you guys the whole time. And so it's not just a handoff, but it's an ongoing conversation. I think that could have worked as well if it's an independent designer.
And then the other thing that we appreciate about Nuki is the project management piece of it, where they're making sure that whatever trade is coming onto the house is certain of what needs to be done, has been given all of the information. There's check-ins before the project begins, check-ins after the project's done. So it just makes a homeowner feel that they're up to date on what's being planned and what's been done, and you're not feeling kind of out of control with what's happening.
The other thing I would say is, I think, and I have shared this with people that have called us, is your detail and your initial bid was absolutely amazing for someone like us who were nervous about budget doing the first project. You were down to the detail that I think we were right on budget. And I was telling folks who are used to doing projects that they have a million change orders, and we didn't have any change orders. The only one we had was the bathroom, and we knew that was going to happen, right? We were just hoping it wouldn't happen.
The change orders were because of things we wanted, like the extra sliding door on the laundry room and things like that. So the change orders were initiated by us, not the other way around.
And your bid was so detail oriented that we knew exactly the cost. And I think we didn't get that with our other contractors that we looked for bids. And that would have been a lot scarier for me, who has to have control and has to know the details. And so we appreciated them, and now that we've gone through it and heard other stories, we appreciate it even more. So.
Yeah. It's not a black box kind of situation. This was advice to people who are thinking about getting into a project. I would definitely say any bid you get, make sure the breakdown is very clear of exactly, if they're charging you $5,000, what are they going to do for that $5,000? Like literally every line item be spec'd out, because when the person actually shows up and is doing the work, that's when, this is not what I was told to do, and this is what I was told to do, so I'm going to do X. And meanwhile, you had a conversation to get Y done, and that's where most of the tensions arise. And I feel like we didn't have to deal with any of that, because we had already gone through that process, and everything was line itemed and very clearly stated of what the budget was intended to do, and that's what got executed. And that really took a lot of stress away from the construction process.
Huge amount of stress relief for me. Maybe for you too, but for me, that was my biggest thing. Is I always hear construction projects go way over budget, they take way over time, and I think your breakdown and your timeline was completely to the T. So that's why I would do it again. Otherwise,
yeah. No, I mean, in your profession, you gotta have those details, right?